Welcome to the Bite of Art podcast, your daily dose of contemporary art insights. My name is Ivan Despotovic, and together with my guests I am going to guide you through the latest developments and trends in the contemporary art across Europe. Bite of Art podcast is part of Bite of Art initiative that is co-founded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union, and our ambition and aim is to bring innovation in creation, consumption and dissemination of contemporary art, making it more attractive, more accessible and mainstream to the audience in Europe. Here with me is Nenad Avramovic, a young emerging artist that was whose artwork, Our Beloved, was funded by the Bite of Art contest, and you exhibited, I would rather say it's not artwork, but rather socially engaging performance that you and your colleague Jelena Mirkovic performed in Ljubljana as a part of Bite of Art Festival, which was really successful, and afterwards you engaged so many people into that discussion, and then afterwards that became part of the first Bite of Art tour that was implemented in Europe, where citizens and tourists who come to Ljubljana can visit your artwork there alongside with many other artists from Europe. Nenad, this is only a short introduction of your link with Bite, but your career is much more than this, and you are already established young emerging artist, and thank you for coming to Bite of Art podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
So first, I'm speaking Our Beloved, speaking Bite and so on, so maybe it would be nice to guide our audience into what was Our Beloved performance about, what you wanted to achieve.
Well, the theme of the contest that we applied to when we applied to Bite of Art was raising environmental awareness, and our idea was to try to contemplate on the idea of human impact on animal species. And the main thing, the main motif of our work is the negative impact that human activity has on different animal species, and the work itself, the performance is consists of our work in the public space of Ljubljana, on the streets of Ljubljana, in front of the Kresija Gallery, and we were carving the stone plaque, the marble plaque, with the names of all the, well, not of course all of the species, but some of the species that are extinct due to human influence. So the reason why we chose the marble plaque and the whole visual identity that we chose is that we wanted to quote the already familiar idea of the monuments to fallen fighters that is really specific to post-socialist countries that Slovenia and Serbia are, and we wanted to use that specific language to make the issue of negative human impact a bit more human, that the animals that are impacted can be regarded as some sort of fallen heroes. And also I think it's also when you raise a monument to a person, to a fallen fighter, you have that sort of cynical relation to it, that you award someone who died, which is kind of morbid and like very cynical. So this also translates to how people want to have sympathy, but they usually do it when it's too late and when it's, you know.
But the one thing I want to ask you is how do you perceive the impact of your artwork? Because I think that this is the most important when it comes to socially engaging art. What was the reaction of the audience back then? Because as you say, it's for some reactions are too late, but did they become aware so it doesn't become too late sometime in the future?
Well, I would like to think that our performance had a really good impact on the audience, since we had a lot of contact with people, and the performance itself was interactive in the way that through discussion with passerbys and through conversation and exploration of the theme of extinct species. Together with the audience, we chose the specific species that we put on the plaque. So it was interactive. People took part in selecting the specific species, and I think that kind of engagement left a more permanent mark on them than just observing the performance itself.
I must add to what you say that actually the final product of your performance was asked by the Ljubljana city institutions to be exhibited in their public galleries, and I think it still is. Correct me if I'm wrong or something changed, but I think it's still exhibited there.
I think it was exhibited until like February this year.
February.
But yeah, we were really honored to have our piece exhibited there. It was like a really good reaction to what we did. It was a lot more than we really expected, so we were really honored, and I would like to thank the people who made it possible to have it displayed.
Does your art always had that component of activism, of socially engaging component, and so on?
Well, actually, no, because things I usually do, my artworks are really not usually activistic. They don't have that. They're not driven by activism or that sort of communication. But this was a Bite of Art initiative. Was a good opportunity for me to try to challenge that part of my expression, to try and make something that might have a bit more like guided influence on others. That is just not like expressing my own aesthetic values or ideas, but also having a message that reaches out to people.
And when you compare those two, what is your maybe ambition in the future? Are you going to be more dedicated to activistic art, or?
Well, I think I really think that it was a great learning experience to have like such direct contact with the audience, and to state to have your statement that is so directly translated to the people. So I think that will definitely leave a mark on my future work.
So, sorry, Nenad. You're a young emerging artist, and I would like to speak a little bit more how it is to be a young emerging artist. What are the challenges you're facing today and so on? Because I want for you to be the voice of your generation and try to reach as many as possible cultural operators to try to present them with your position, struggles, and how maybe they can reach out and help you address those issues. So how hard it is to be a young emerging artist today? What are the main challenges you're facing?
Well, first of all, I would like to not have the responsibility of speaking in front of the whole generation or anything. I can just speak for my own limited experience. But the challenges I usually face are that the cultural operators that we have contact with are usually smaller private galleries that are commercially funded, and it usually people who get to exhibit in those places are people who the curators think will be able to bring in money, which is, I guess, the way things work. But that kind of limits the selection of artists to those who are doing trendy, popular stuff. So I think, in my experience, that is something that is a bit demotivating, and I don't know. It would be nice to have a place to exhibit pieces which maybe are not as commercially popular or rentable. To have a place to exhibit those kinds of artists.
But I was speaking with guests in my podcasts. I heard so many times that they're mentioning some phrase like artists receive an opportunity, but then if it's not taken well by the audience, then he's out of the first exhibition. So you're all the time saying something which is not popular and so on. Does that kind of art can be sustainable?
Well, it really depends on the market. Like the trends dictate what the buyers are looking for, and if your art is not trendy, then it's not something that you can place on the market.
Are there any, for example, alternatives? So I know that so many times also it was heard that galleries are mostly elitistic, have an elitistic approach in actually selecting artists and so on. From the other side, I heard so many times that they need to have so in order to be sustainable in their work. So is there any alternative for the young artists?
Well, I think there is, especially in the. I know a couple of artistic communities that are also trying to have their space for exhibiting, and they usually have more understanding for artists who are emerging, who are not yet placed on the market. I think there is a place in those kinds of communities to exhibit, even though it's not very profitable or commercial. So I think it's really a thing of like artistic community. The artistic community can make a space that welcomes even non-commercial art.
Yeah, but the hardest thing I heard for young artists is how to become financially sustainable, so you can maintain your art. Is it true? Is that the biggest challenge you're facing?
Definitely, yeah. That's the biggest. I don't know many people from my generation, from my class, from my surroundings that are exclusively professional artists that do not work anywhere else for their profits. I know a lot of people who are part-time artists, part-time something else, and that is usually the case. And those are the people who really work hard in both of their jobs. And I can say that I really don't know anyone who is a young artist who is totally established and totally financially stable and lives off only making art.
And are there some opportunities for entering more wider markets? I would not dare to say global, but maybe even global, because one of the challenges is also you're limited, for example, to your country, to your city, to the community, and so on. So with some exchange initiatives and so on. So do you have some more opportunities these days than it was before? Or?
I think definitely there's more opportunities because people are traveling more, there are more residencies, there are more contacts, there are more galleries, especially locally here, that are visiting the art fairs. I think the situation is improving in that way because there's social media. It's much easier to be an independent artist now compared to some time ago.
So you say that you're very thankful to the Byte initiative, but what were the main the best things you received from the Byte support? What would you stress? Maybe because there are some also other players who can provide same support to the young emerging artists, so maybe it would be nice to emphasize. What do you need?
I think the biggest, most positive side to my experience in Slovenia was connecting with people who came to take part in Byte initiative, both from cultural operators side and both from the artistic side. I've met a lot of young artists who are very inspiring and who are very interesting, made some really good contacts that are really well inspiring, and also we made contacts with some of the institutions in Slovenia, with people from institutions, and we also had the fortune of having our piece displayed. So I think that networking aspect of the Byte of Art initiative was the most valuable thing.
Now I'm coming down to one question that I know that was a lot in our discussions in the previous months and years, how long we know each other, and I wanted to ask you about the impact of new technologies on young artists, in the sense of creation art, in the sense of dissemination of art, or even consumption of contemporary art. How do you perceive impact of those technologies? How those technologies are impacting the work of artists?
Well, I think it's a great option to have. Like we are expanding our palette of tools we have available. It's the advanced technology is getting more available to people. I think we should definitely try as artists to take advantage of everything that we can that can help us in our expression and our work. So I think that new technologies bring only good to our trade.
But what would you emphasize most? Like, in which sense? In creation of art, dissemination of art?
I would say probably more dissemination and more like placing your content. The social media are a very useful tool, although they also create this abundance of information and abundance of like the market is now not only limited to a certain group, either geographically or whatever other aspect you want to look at. It's not only one group. The whole market is now expanding and it's merging together. So it has its both its good sides and bad sides. But I think the fact that you can reach other places in the world with your art, and you can reach other cultural operators, other consumers, other collectors, that is definitely a benefit and a good thing. Also, you don't need, not as much. It's much easier to be an independent artist that doesn't have like his own gallery or something. It's much easier to be independent now than it was before the social media.
This is exactly what I wanted to stress and point out, because I really do believe that many of those challenges we were discussing, and this is why I so insisted on so many diverse challenges and figuring out them, because I do believe that many of those can be resolved with new technologies. For example, if you have hard time entering the gallery and so on, there is a lot of online knowledge which can help you in navigating the value of your artwork. That is one role of the gallery, and the other is allowing and ensuring visibility to the artist. Now, for example, with blockchain markets and technologies, you are able to enter even global markets. You are not limited to the offer of your city or to the buyers from your city. Now you can penetrate that to the global scale. So I think that this kind, for example, is one of the important things. Second thing is, or even if you want to go to the galleries, so you can have social media which can help you amplify your success or create a story behind you. Because I know so many artists that are creating a story through the social media about them and creating sense of importance. And then once your gallery, you okay, he needs to, or she needs to provide some quality art, but still, we know so many artists who are really have high quality work and do not exhibit in the galleries. So I think that social media skills can be really helpful.
Definitely, I think, well, probably in all aspects of modern life, but in art as well, the cult of personality of a person who is living his life, not only being a professional but also living a life. A cult of personality is really gaining more importance. People want to look, people want to learn about people who are not only artists, but they are artists besides other things, who are interesting persons, who are able to communicate interestingly, who are, you know, personalities sell art. And I think that is to a certain degree that is how it always been, but today with our social media we can sell the personalities even wider.
But there is one interesting discussion we had in Ljubljana, if you remember, when we discussed why not all young people and young artists are using new technologies, and there is that question of values and do not want to using any leverage of technology because they do not believe in technology. So I think that this can be really a step back for them even in trying to build their own world in sense of the values they are actually standing for. How do you see that? Because we discussed that, for example, they were against capitalism, and those artists still need to have their phones to communicate, laptops to do some things and so on, otherwise they would be cut off from the world.
Well, yeah, I don't think owning stuff is really a capitalist thing, but I get what you're trying to say, and I also agree. There are a lot of positive sides to capitalism, but there are also negative impacts on one of which is the one we talked about in the beginning, which is that the only artists that are interesting for the galleries, the private galleries, are the ones who can sell easily. And the ones who can sell easily are the ones that are doing the trendy subjects or are doing something that is popular at the moment. But anyway, I guess that's a personal decision for everyone to make if they want to use new technology or not. In my opinion, I understand that some people do not want to have that. Do not want to make that internet persona of themselves. And I think if you want to be a successful independent artist, you have to have a persona. You have to exist on the internet. You have to exist on social media. You have to be more than just your artworks. And I understand if people do not want to create that. But I mean, everybody determines their own limits and their own way of doing things.
Thank you, Nenad. And now I would like to actually change a little bit the direction of our discussion, because I think that you provide us enough with, let's say, perspective of young emerging artists and how it looks from their shoes. But now I would like to ask you a little bit more about your, let's say, responsibilities of emerging artists to the world, in the sense. Byte initiative is strongly devoted to socially engaging art, and even your artwork was designed in that manner. Do you think that today you and your colleagues should have more proactive role in shaping the society and addressing contemporary challenges? Because if not, then the voice of generation will be missing in the paintings, in the galleries, and so on.
Well, I think that's also an individual thing. Like if you have the need to express certain messages, certain if you want to voice your ideas or concerns on such subject, you are free to do so. And but I also believe that everybody should have the not all artists should have to be socially engaging or and doing so. I think generally people tend to have opinions, and people generally want to express them, and artists as well. Besides the fact they're artists, they also have their own opinions, be it political or otherwise. They usually want to express those, and art is a great way of expressing things, so it usually correlates.
Since you are having experience with both kinds, so do you think that, for example, as you said, from one side, artist needs to develop his own audience or her own audience, but in your case, do you think that it's more easier to develop when it comes to socially engaging art and activist art than to those just expressing? Is it easier to develop a new audience this way?
Well, I think when you're having socially active art or activistic art, it usually has a very clear message, a very direct message, and which means that more people can be reached by that message. So I think in that sense it is easier, because a lot of people would because of all of the elitism in the contemporary art, and people have a sort of they make their own distance from the contemporary art. But when you have something that is very engaging and very direct, then they do not feel the taboo, and they do not feel like they will not be adequate to talk about a certain subject. So I think it's easier when you have like a direct message. It's easier to engage more people.
Your performance was about climate change and environment, and I have a feeling that climate change and environment are among priority topics for young people today. And how you as an artist perceive this topic?
Well, I think
globally,
people, the reason for why more and more young people are getting ecologically aware more than the previous generations is because people are getting educated, and people are thinking more about the consequences of their actions. That probably coincides with the fact that the consequences are now visible more than they were before. But I think it's a good thing that more and more people are thinking about their actions, and I do feel that we have a responsibility towards all life or towards all environments. So I think that the future of younger generations lies in thinking about their own actions and impact of those actions on others as well as environment.
Yeah, and also in one of the previous episodes I discussed about importance of contemporary art in addressing social challenges and also these environmental challenges. And I think that young emerging artists can really navigate discussion and lead toward awareness raising in this regard, and at the end help those people become more aware, more active in protecting our environment.
Yeah, well, I really believe that the highest form of activism is leading by the example. You know, if activism, in my opinion, should not be forceful. It should not be aggressive. It should not be in any way forcing its own message. It should be inspiring. You know, it should lead by its own example. If you are making art that is in accordance with the environment, if you are living your life in accordance with the environment. I think that is the more powerful way of inspiring people to think about those things than trying to be directly critical of the phenomena that we see today.
Speaking about directions, artistic directions, what are the artistic directions mostly popular among young people today?
Well, it's really hard to say because I think today, because of the broadening of the horizons, because of all of the availability of art on the internet, for the availability of the art to an average consumer, you can literally see anything on the internet. So I really can't determine what is like the most defining thing, but the new technologies are expanding, but there are also some really classical art that is still being popular and sold. So I think it's a good thing, to have all of those things that are happening at once.
So how do you see that the future in regard to young emerging artists will evolve? Do you think, or maybe desired future, how would you like things to develop in the future? What would be the main things that you would like for institutions to react, to do whatever?
Well, I would like to have an artistic environment that is without any sort of taboos, that is not elitistic in any way, that people feel free to express themselves, but in a way that is not determined by some other factors, whether the art will sell or not, or whether something is socially acceptable or not. I think that would be like the goal, that everybody, every sort of expression has its own place in the artistic world.
Thank you, Nenad, for being a guest of Byte Podcast, and you provide us with some nice perspective of young emerging artists, and I wish you all the best in your future career.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Byte of Art podcast. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more trends in contemporary art in Europe. See you until next episode.